Bombshell. Alex Eala just got laughed at by the world number one, and New York is absolutely stunned. The Filipina sensation, who has taken the tennis world by storm, finally got her dream matchup against Aryna Sabalenka at the US Open. But instead of respect, she was met with something far more insulting. A dismissive laugh from the woman who sits atop the WTA rankings. What happened next left the entire tennis world divided. Was it disrespect? Gamesmanship? And how did Eala respond to being treated like she didn't belong? She had been waiting for this moment her entire career. A chance to stand across the net from the best player in the world. A chance to prove that her meteoric rise wasn't just a fluke. It was destiny. And when Alex Eala found herself in the same draw as Aryna Sabalenka at the 2026 US Open, the tennis world took notice. But the dream matchup almost didn't happen. Sabalenka, the two-time defending US Open champion, entered Flushing Meadows in a state of crisis. After winning the Sunshine Double in Miami earlier this year, the world knew. One had struggled to make deep runs, with her best result being a semi-final appearance in Berlin, a surprising early exit at Wimbledon, a 6-2, 7-6 loss to Naomi Osaka, had shaken her confidence. And just weeks before the US Open, she suffered another early exit, this time to Sarah Bejlek in Cincinnati. The media was asking the same question. What's going on with Sabalenka? Eala, meanwhile, was riding the wave of the most successful season of her young career. She had just captured her first WTA 500 title in Washington, defeating a gauntlet of top players that included Jung Kinwin, Leylah Fernandez, Elina Svitolina, Naomi Osaka, and world no. 3 Jessica Pegula. She had climbed to world number 20, the highest ranking ever achieved by a Filipina tennis player. And she had been officially listed for the US Open alongside the top-ranked players, setting the stage for a potential collision with the defending champion. The contrast couldn't have been starker. The champion was stumbling. The challenger was soaring. Eala arrived in New York with an energy that was impossible to ignore. She was spotted practicing at Arthur Ashe Stadium, and the US Open announced her arrival on social media with a simple but powerful message. Alex Eala 05 has arrived. The message was clear. This wasn't just another competitor. This was a star in the making. But it was what happened in the days before the tournament that would set the stage for the drama to come. When the mixed doubles draw was announced, the tennis world learned that Sabalenka and Eala would both be competing in the same event. Sabalenka partnering with Novak Djokovic, and Eala partnering with Canadian star Felix Auger-Aliassime. The collision course was set, and then came the moment that changed everything. When Sabalenka was asked about the potential matchup with the rising Filipina star, her reaction sent shockwaves through the tennis world. A dismissive laugh, a wave of the hand, an expression that seemed to say, "Who is this girl, and why should I be worried?" The tennis world erupted. Was this the arrogance of a champion who had won it all? Or was it the desperation of a player who knew she was vulnerable? The answer would reveal itself on the courts of Flushing Meadows, but the drama had already begun. The tennis world was still buzzing when the video surfaced. A press conference clip, a simple question, a response that would ignite a firestorm of controversy. Aryna Sabalenka, the world know, 1- and 2-time defending US Open champion, was asked about the prospect of facing Alex Eala in the mixed doubles event at Flushing Meadows. The Belarusian's reaction was caught on camera. A dismissive laugh, a wave of the hand, an expression that seemed to say she had nothing to fear from the rising Filipina star. It was the kind of moment that social media was built for. Within hours, the clip had gone viral. Fans around the world were divided. Some defended Sabalenka, saying it was just gamesmanship, a champion's way of showing confidence. Others saw it as something far more troubling, disrespect for a player who had earned her place among the elite. But here's the part of the story that makes Sabalenka's dismissiveness so ironic. While she was laughing at the prospect of facing Eala, the Filipina sensation was quietly outselling her in the one place that matters most to the tennis establishment: merchandise sales. According to Hardcourt's Jessica Schiffer, Eala's U.S. Open Nike outfit reportedly sold out almost immediately, while apparel linked to other prominent Nike tennis stars, including Aryna Sabalenka herself, remained available on shelves. Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner, Aryna Sabalenka, three of the biggest names in tennis, and their gear was still on the racks. Eala's was gone. The Eala effect is getting harder to ignore, the Chronicle reported. And they weren't wrong. The video of Eala's victory in Washington had been watched more than 1 million times. Her pre-tournament press conference in Toronto had received more than 261,000 views on Tennis Canada's YouTube channel, making it the 6th most watched video on their platform. A Filipina tennis star was generating more engagement than some of the sport's biggest names. The contrast couldn't have been starker. The world number one was laughing at the prospect of playing her. And the fans were responding by buying out everything with Eala's name on it. What does it say about a sport when a top 20 player outsells the defending champion? When a 21-year-old from the Philippines generates more buzz than a two-time Grand Slam winner? Sabalenka's dismissive laugh was the spark. The merchandise sales were the fire. And the entire tennis world was watching the smoke rise. As the U.S. Open draw was announced, the collision course was set. Eala would be seated at Flushing Meadows, a first for a Filipina player in history. And Sabalenka? The two-time defending champion was suddenly facing questions she never expected. Could the rising star from the Philippines actually beat the world number one? Or was Sabalenka right to laugh? But while Sabalenka was dismissing her potential opponent, something far more stunning was happening in New York. Something that would make Sabalenka's dismissive laugh look like the worst strategic mistake of her career. While Aryna Sabalenka was laughing at the prospect of facing Eala, something remarkable was happening on the streets of New York. Something that would make the world know. One's dismissive reaction looked like the worst strategic miscalculation of her career. The Filipina sensation hadn't even hit a single ball at the 2026 U.S. Open, but she may have already scored one of the tournament's most surprising victories. And it didn't happen on a tennis court. According to Hard Court's Jessica Schiffer, Eala's U.S. Open Nike outfit sold out almost immediately, flying off the shelves while apparel linked to other prominent Nike tennis stars, including Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner, and Aryna Sabalenka herself, remained available. The contrast was staggering. The world number one's merchandise was gathering dust. The Filipina rising star's gear was gone within hours. A $140 royal blue Nike Court Slam dress, trimmed in white and black with basketball jersey-inspired mesh panels. A $42 black cotton t-shirt featuring Sampaguita floral artwork and her name on the back. Her first ever signature Nike shirt, which she promoted with the simple message, "Also, I have my own shirt. You know what to do." Her fans knew exactly what to do. The shirt sold out within hours. Then it briefly came back in stock. Then it sold out again. But the Eala effect was just getting started. When Eala arrived at Flushing Meadows, she was met by a crowd so large that security guards had to form a shield around her just to guide her through the wave of fans filming her with their phones and cheering. The 21-year-old raised her hands in gratitude, acknowledging the sport she has become she's so accustomed to, but never takes for granted. Philippine flags have become an increasingly familiar sight wherever she competes. From Australia and Dubai to Rome, London, Washington, and Toronto, Filipino supporters have consistently transformed overseas tournaments into something resembling a home crowd. The chants of "Let's go, Alex" now echo through stadiums across the world. Even her rivals have noticed. Jasmine Paolini has spoken positively about the excitement surrounding Eala. Jessica Pegula admitted she was surprised by how much the Filipinas' following had grown since they first crossed paths in Miami. "It's like, wow, I achieved that." "Okay, let's go for more," Eala said following her Washington breakthrough. Now, that enthusiasm has spilled beyond stadium seats and onto store shelves. And the timing couldn't be more perfect or more ironic. Because while Sabalenka was laughing at her potential opponent, the fans were speaking with their wallets. While the world knew. One was dismissing the Filipina, New York was embracing her. While the champion was showing disrespect, the challenger was building an empire. And when they finally meet on the court, the very crowd that sold out Eala's merchandise and packed her practice sessions, will be watching. While Eala was selling out merchandise and drawing crowds that required security escorts, Aryna Sabalenka was facing a crisis that threatened to derail her U.S. Open campaign before it even began. The world number one arrived in New York in the midst of her worst stretch of tennis in recent memory. After winning the Sunshine Double at Indian Wells in Miami earlier in the year, Sabalenka's season had taken a dramatic turn. A final loss to Elena Rybakina at the Australian Open, a quarterfinal exit at Roland Garros, a stunning fourth-round defeat to Naomi Osaka at Wimbledon, her earliest Grand Slam exit since 2022. And then came the hard-court summer swing. The surface that had made her a two-time U.S. Open champion suddenly betrayed her. In Toronto, she fell in the round of 16 to Ekaterina Alexandrova. In Cincinnati, she suffered an even more humiliating loss, blowing a 5-1 lead in the first set tiebreak and a 4-1 lead in the second to lose to 20-year-old Czech qualifier Sara Bejlek, a player who had never beaten a top 10 opponent before that match. Sabalenka's frustration boiled over when she flung her racket across the court, sending her dampener flying as the ball crew scrambled to retrieve it while her opponent waited to serve for the set. 3 straight tournaments, 3 early exits, no titles since March. The contrast with Eala couldn't have been sharper. While Sabalenka was visibly unraveling on court, throwing rackets and searching for her identity, Eala was riding the momentum of a career-best season that now had her projected to reach a career-high ranking. Her consistency was remarkable. She had matched Sabalenka's tournament results in 4 consecutive events, reaching the same rounds as the world number one. But the differences extended beyond results. Sabalenka's problems weren't just technical. They were increasingly seen as mental. Tennis analyst Bastien Facon wrote on social media that Sabalenka had lost sight of her identity and had mentally checked out of tennis. Fans echoed the sentiment, with one writing that Sabalenka looks completely drained after her Sunshine Double run and questioning whether she should skip the U.S. Open entirely to reset. Adding to the scrutiny, Sabalenka faced criticism for her social media activity during her slump. While her form was declining, she remained active on TikTok, posted bikini photos from a Greek holiday, and continued promoting her YouTube vlog series, Arena's Arena. "Put down the phone and focus on tennis," one fan wrote. Others were harsher. "Too many distractions. Focus on sport or retire." Meanwhile, Eala was being praised for her professionalism and composure. Her signature Nike shirt, a $42 black cotton tee featuring Sampaguita floral artwork honoring her Filipino roots, had sold out not once but twice. Her $140 royal blue Nike Court Slam dress was gone from shelves, while Sabalenka's merchandise remained comfortably in stock. The irony was inescapable. The world knew. One who had laughed at the prospect of facing Eala couldn't sell her own merchandise. The rising star she dismissed was outselling the biggest names in tennis. And now, New York was buzzing. Eala had arrived at Flushing Meadows surrounded by security guards, having learned from a dangerous incident at the Australian Open where an enthusiastic crowd pushed her against a wall. Philippine flags were everywhere. The fans were ready. Sabalenka was still the defending champion. She was still the world number one. She still had Novak Djokovic as her mixed doubles partner, forming what many called the dream team of the tournament. But the momentum belonged to someone else. And New York, the city that had once crowned Sabalenka a champion, was now embracing the woman she had dismissed with a laugh. And then came the moment that changed everything. When the draw was finally released and the tennis world saw that Eala and Aryna Sabalenka were on a collision course, the contrast between the two players couldn't have been more stark. Sabalenka entered New York having lost 3 straight tournaments before the quarterfinal stage. A 4th-round exit to Naomi Osaka at Wimbledon, a 4th-round loss to Ekaterina Alexandrova in Toronto, and a stunning defeat to 20-year-old Czech qualifier Sara Bejlek in Cincinnati. The world number one was in crisis, and she knew it. In a press conference before the tournament, Sabalenka was asked about the pressure of defending her U.S. Open title for the 3rd consecutive year, a feat last achieved by Serena Williams in 2014. Her response was revealing. "You can look at this like you're defending something, but to be honest, you always have the target on your back," Sabalenka said. "I love having the target on my back. I like to see the younger generation looking up to me and getting inspired by me." The irony was impossible to ignore. The younger generation she was supposedly inspiring? One of them had just outsold her in merchandise. One of them had just matched her tournament results in 4 consecutive events. One of them was coming for her crown. And New York was ready to cheer every single moment of it. Sabalenka may have been defending her title, but Eala was defending something far more powerful, the belief that she belonged. And when the two finally met on the court, whether in singles or in the mixed doubles event, where Sabalenka partnered with Novak Djokovic and Eala with Felix Auger-Aliassime, the crowd would make their choice known. The Filipina flags would wave. The chants of "Let's go, Alex" would echo through Arthur Ashe Stadium. And Sabalenka would be forced to confront a reality she had dismissed with a laugh. The rising star from the Philippines was no longer just a feel-good story. She was a genuine threat. Greg Rusedski, the former world number 4 and 1997 U.S. Open finalist, put it best when he spoke about Eala's prospects in New York. "She's just a ray of light for the WTA Tour," Rusedski said. "She's the best thing that's happened to it in a long while. We needed a big superstar, and she's filling those boots." He added something that will send chills down the spine of every tennis fan watching. "Right now she's put a message out to everybody. Okay, I might be ready for that first major title at the US Open." The question isn't whether Eala can win. The question is whether Sabalenka, the woman who laughed at her, can stop her.